So I note that this piece of legislation, as I understand it, right, the purpose is to authorize dedicated domestic terrorism offices within the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to analyze and monitor domestic terrorist activity and require the federal government to take steps to prevent domestic terrorism. Now, that may seem innocuous to some. I don't find it to be particularly innocuous when you're talking about the power of the federal government and talking about the offices to monitor domestic terrorist activity. That already raises red flags for me, no matter what the purpose is, no matter who is being targeted. And so when I go back, and you all, and I've mentioned this before and I won't belabor it, but it does merit repetition, that at the center of this whole controversy, starting going back to the National School Board Association's memo, was that Scott Smith of Loudon County, who was 48 years old, about my age, I'm 49. He's the father of a girl who was sexually assaulted. This story that I'm pulling back up to remind myself says allegedly, but we now know has been confirmed, conviction, sexually assaulted in a Virginia school bathroom in Loudon County, which is where I went to high school, in Loudon Valley High School. And that Scott was at this school board event subsequently to his daughter being assaulted. And his wife is yelling, quote, "My child was raped at school and this is what happens." And there's a picture that was fairly famously spread around the internet of Mr. Smith being wrestled to the ground. Now, Mr. Smith is at a school board meeting because his daughter was raped. And he's asking the school board, and frankly, he was being a little more polite than Congressman Roy would have been, I assure you. If my daughter was raped and I was in front of the school board, he was asking to be heard. And then his name ends up at the center of an effort by the National School Board Association to have the FBI investigating domestic terrorist activity. So this isn't, as some might say, oh, well, you guys are just stalling, you're trying to delay or offer amendments for show or have some political show vote. This is an amendment, or a piece of legislation that would expand the power of the Federal Bureau of Investigation to analyze and monitor domestic terrorist activity. And we know then through whistleblowers, and we've got the documentation from the whistleblowers that we've got this edu official tag. And now all we simply want to do in this amendment, since the majority refused to accept Mr. Biggs' amendment to say, wait, let's not target parents. All we're trying to do right now is say, can we at least know who's being targeted? And to track the use of the edu official tag. Now, so I want everybody in America to understand the United States House of Representatives Judiciary Committee wants to empower the FBI, Homeland Security, to empower going after Americans to monitor their activity in America. Monitor Americans. And we know that they've been doing so, targeting parents. And again, the kind of parent we're talking about is Mr. Smith, whom I've come to know. And that was the epicenter of starting this whole thing of, quote, threats to school boards. That a father wanted to dare question a school board about what happened to his daughter in a bathroom in the school he pays taxes to, and just wants to know that his daughter is safe. And do my colleagues on the other side of the aisle think that's okay? My colleagues on the other side of the aisle think, oh, let's just sweep that aside? And that we shouldn't be concerned about the power of the government tracking citizens, tracking Americans based on the fact that they show up to a school board to demand security for their daughter? That's where we are. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Who else seeks recognition? In that case, the question occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Nay. No. In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it.
Recorded vote, Mr. Chairman.
Recorded vote is requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Nadler.
No.
Mr. Nadler votes no. Ms. Lofgren.
No.
She's going to want
Ms.
to do her
Lofgren
own
votes
thing,
no.
and it's gonna become a-
All members
Jackson
mute their members mute
Tell me
their
more.
the microphones while we have the roll call.
Ms. Jackson Lee
Activity,
votes no.
energy,
No.
You know.
Did you get me?
Ms. Jackson Lee votes no. Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen.
Aye.
Mr.
Yes.
Cohen. Mr.
Yes, I concur.
Mr. Cohen votes yes.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson of Georgia.
Vote aye.
Mr. Johnson of Georgia votes aye. Mr.
I want to
Deutsch.
remind members we're voting on the Biggs amendment.
No,
Bishop amendment,
I changed my
excuse me.
vote to no.
Yeah, I'd like to change my vote to no. This is Hank Johnson.
Mr. Cohen votes no. Mr. Johnson of Georgia votes no. Mr. Deutsch.
No.